Free at last! Free at last! Tasty wine is free at last. Governor Wolf, you have totally redeemed yourself. Totally. Prohibition ended in 1933. Pennsylvania's just getting around to it. Wine is now available in grocery stores. Coming up, it's passed, it's signed into law. Wine is available in grocery stores. There will be 24/7 service at casinos and better hours at the state stores. Open holidays, better hours on Sundays, more convenient all around. This was a bipartisan effort. Democrats and Republicans, the governor, they all came together to make this happen. Woo! I think that deserves a cowbell. The Democrats say it will secure the union state store jobs, the decently well-paying state store jobs. Republicans say it's a fast track to privatization. I say, who gives a frick? Who gives a frick? We now have access. Drunks can rejoice everywhere. I've got a bottle of wine right here. I could buy this very bottle of wine if I wanted to, right? Well, not right now, but in a few months, right at the Giant Eagle. The Giant Eagle. I cannot wait. It's going to be at basically any of the gas stations or restaurants, or, gas stations or grocery stores right now that serve beer. Soon, you will be able to get wine as well. I am Pittsburgh's moral compass, steering you on the right course. The most interesting man in the burg, Brian Crawford, in Millvale Studios. We've got all sorts of new lights. I feel like I'm on display here at the Millvale Studio. And it's going to be a fun time. I am so thrilled. I cannot wait. I am so excited to be able to finally live in the 21st century and be able to have access to wine. That's all I want. I don't care who sells it. I don't care if it's the state. I don't care if it's Giant Eagle. I don't care if it's Sheets. I just want to be able to get a bottle of wine at a normal hour. I don't think it's that crazy to want. I don't think it's that crazy of a thing to crave, to be able to get a bottle of alcohol at a normal hour. I work a crazy shift. As you know, I work overnight. A lot of times I'm asleep before the state store opens. When I wake up, the state store's already closed. I need convenience. This is working in that direction. Governor Wolf has completely changed my outlook on this week. I was kind of miserable this week. I had to work during the Penguins game, and of course they won the Stanley Cup, the one day out of the week where I have to go into work an hour early, so I couldn't see any of the third period. I'm there at work trying to watch the game on my cell phone, which is completely against regulation, but I didn't care. It was the Stanley Cup. It was Game 6. But of course, somebody next to me just would not shut the frig up. Yak, 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 yak. The entire time. You'd have think she'd have guzzled down an entire bottle of wine available at her grocery store coming up. But no, she just kept talking, going on and on. Which, I mean, she's a cool person, but it's Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Just shut the frick up. Let me watch the game. I don't know what's a bigger victory. The Stanley Cup or more access to booze? Who am I kidding? It's the booze. We've got lots of good stuff on our show today. As I said, the Penguins have won the Stanley Cup. The parade is going on immediately after this show. This show's 10 to 11. The parade, I believe, starts at 11:30. So make your way down if you can. I would suggest taking the T if you live in the South Hills, because you're probably going to have a hard time driving into the city and finding a parking spot. There's hundreds of thousands of people who are going to be at this parade. They're expecting close to Close to 400,000, I believe, at the parade. So it's going to be a good time. We have Amanda Narcisi. I believe she's on her way to the parade. She's going to call in and tell us what there is to do this weekend. No more hockey. No more hockey this weekend, so you'll have to find other things to do. Baseball is there. I think the NBA Finals is still going on. I really don't pay attention to that. But it's available as well, I think. I don't know. She'll tell us. We're going to talk about the situation in Orlando, how the impact on this area, how there's a local senator in this area making waves in Washington, D.C. over the shooting, and our reaction to the shooting. Do we have a right reaction? And I say that in a sense that our first initial reaction to a crisis in this country, is it really in the right frame of mind? We're going to get into that a little later in the show. And we have Tyler Wittmeyer. He is across the table from me here producing the show. Tyler, how are you today?
Pretty good, Brian. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Are you excited about the freedom of booze in Pennsylvania?
I saw this and I'm quite excited. I mean, in Florida, you can get it anywhere.
It's amazing to me that Tom Corbett, that was a big part of his agenda, was the privatization of liquor stores. And this isn't going in that direction, but it is giving more access to the two people who are able to now get alcohol in other places. And I find it interesting because the governor here, Governor Wolf, who has been very inflexible on many issues, particularly the budget. He has not been
stickler.
Yeah, he's not budged at all on the budget. Even when the budget finally did go through, it actually went through without his signature. So he still never he never approved the budget. He just allowed it to pass without his signature. But he was able to get everyone to work together on. Actually, I take that back. He didn't get everyone to work together on this. The Republicans and the Democrats in the House worked together and sent it to him, but he was working collaboratively with them. And I find it interesting because liquor reform was really one of the hallmarks of the Corbett administration, even though I have heard that though he spoke about it, he didn't often push it as hard as maybe he could have through the legislative process. But Tom Wolf gets it out right out of the bat. I mean, he
came out
is in
swinging.
He hasn't been a governor for that long,
No.
but he's been able to get this serious reform going. Now, I have heard that the former Governor Wolf, actually held back some of these reforms in an effort to push privatization. Now this is coming from the Liquor Control Board, that they had recommended some changes to make things more accessible, and the former governor actually stood in the way. So I wonder if there's any validity to that. Looking at what we have now with the new passing of this new reform bill, I almost wonder if there is some validity to that.
There might be.
I wonder, there's an old commercial, I played it on my show once before, about the state store, the union that represents the state store workers, and they basically, and I find this interesting, they basically said that having liquor in the grocery stores will, kill our children and everything else. So I find it interesting that the Democrats are actually on board with this, despite what the union is saying. And it can't be good for the union. They're trying to say that this is going to secure jobs, and I guess it secures it versus privatization. It's certainly going to be more secure for state store employees than full-out privatization. But now people have other options, and when they have other options, they're going to explore those options. They're going to go for convenience, and that will only hurt the state store. I think the state store will do okay with hard liquors and things like that. And honestly, I like going to the state store. People knock the state store. I don't have a lot of problems with them. I look at the state store, and the people there have always been very helpful to me. I've never had any issues. They seem knowledgeable. I don't have any issues with them. Everyone always complains about the state store, but I've never had any issues. There are going to be 10,000 holders of restaurant licenses under the new regulations, And there are going to be 300 grocery and convenience stores that will be allowed to sell beer, and 1,200 holders of hotel licenses. And that is according to Elizabeth Brassel, an LCB spokeswoman. The
Free at
LCB has said that free at last, thank
Free
God.
at last.
The LCB has said that they are going to push to expedite this procedure, and they're saying about a couple months we may start seeing some changes. So it's not going to be an immediate change, but as anything, it does take time. And honestly, from what I'm reading, it's going to actually take less time than it took to implement the changeover of the speed limits, the increasing of the speed limits on our turnpikes. So that's a blessing for sure. I'm excited. I cannot wait. You have no idea. I am so excited. It's going to be wonderful. We got Amanda Narcisi up next. I know she likes to drink. She's always talking about the different breweries she's going to and the different alcoholic beverages she is consuming. So we'll ask her if she's heard of this groundbreaking legislation and what she thinks about that. And also what there is to do tonight. So that's going to be up next here at riversEdgePGH.com, Pittsburgh's voice for local music.